Thank you for listening to the Dog Trainers Podcast, a podcast created by dog trainers for dog trainers, or anyone who's ever fallen in love with man's best friend.
Episode 36, Trainers to the Rescue, featuring Bobby Dorafshar.
But I gotta tell you, I had experience. A client hired me because nobody could train his dog.
Mm-hmm.
So we did a one-on-one, and in 6 weeks, the dog was absolutely perfect. On a graduation, he comes to me. He hand me a business card. He goes, "I learn a lot. I'm a dog trainer. If you need help, you can hire me." Hand me his business card. In 6 sessions, he thought he's a dog trainer.
So wait, you taught him to train his own dog?
Exactly.
Oh,
He
I
trained
see.
one
I see.
dog himself
Oh my
Okay.
goodness.
with my supervision of once a week meeting. Okay. But he thought he can train any dog.
Mm,
So those are not dog trainers.
Right.
right.
Those are the business. People want to take advantage of business to
Right.
make extra buck.
Yeah.
Okay.
have-
Unfortunately, the problem is the animals will pay the price.
Right.
They actually will kill an animal.
Yeah.
Well, and we have that today. I mean, I remember back in the day, um, that like most of us weren't big fans of e-collars and, and I don't know if you are today or not, and that, it doesn't, but I myself who got really good at e-collar some 4 or 5 years ago, and I see now the value in it. And just like you said with any other tool, how you're supposed to work it appropriately and the transformative like miracle that it can have for some dogs sometimes.
Mhm.
But I'm not gonna like name names, but there are companies near me now who all of their training program is built around marketing. It's a 2-week board and train with no delineation. Puppy, whatever the age, whatever the breed, whatever the issue, 2-week in and out. We guarantee your dog is off leash ready. That's
Mm.
bullshit if I've ever heard it ever.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and I'm like, that's just stupid. And the thing is, Bobby, when I first moved here, this is a new state. I had no clients here, so I started working at a kennel while I built my client base. And while I'm working at this kennel, I'm interviewing at other places just to see how I can improve my situation. And so I interviewed with these people. So I met the owner, and he was vetting me like, have you trained with this, and this? We do mostly e-collar. I was like, oh, well, I know everything about e-collar. I'm really good at it. I know how to work with the food and transition them to the leash and transition to the collar. And they were like, yeah, but we do like only e-collar.
Yeah. That's why they do it in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And I was like, why? And he was, oh, because this is this. And I was like, okay, what if I could train a dog in 2 weeks with food and an e-collar? No, we only do e-collar. And I was like, but why though? And I was like, what if I can show you? Yeah, I was like, what if I can show you, like literally show you based on experimentation?
Mhm.
These aren't my analytics. These are analytics that exist out in the world. What if I can prove to you the dogs will be sharper if there's food involved? If in fact, if it's majority food with corrections only when necessary.
Yeah.
No, well, we just, we this and this and this. And I was like, okay, see you later.
No, we had that in Los Angeles, one of the oldest kennel in Los Angeles. That's all they did. 2 weeks e-collar. So they sell you a 2 weeks. They sell you an e-collar. See, I work at e-collar to start it with the Shetson work. Okay, so I had to because I'm sending the dog without the leash in the park to go after the agitator.
Right.
Right.
And I need to control that dog. So I'm very familiar with it. But the fact is, if you're not educated on it, you could actually cause problems. So that's
Yeah.
what some of the people they worry about.
Yeah.
Plus, like you're dealing with a Petco. Petco doesn't even want you to use choke chain because
Right.
you're dealing with a corporate policy of a liability.
Right.
But is it a liability or saving an animal's life?
Right.
Or staying at home? So
Yeah.
you have to look at it a little bit differently because anything. I mean, I look at this pen. This pen can write me a check for $2 million, or it can poke my eyes out. Is the pen bad or good?
Correct. Right. It's just a tool.
Okay. So it's just a tool. So a choke chain, yes, if you're not educated, you could have harmed the dog.
Yeah.
Same as an e-collar. I think
Yeah.
e-collar is less harmful than a choke chain.
And
I agree.
Something just came up in my mind real quick that I think I just want to say it. So I know plenty of dog trainers that figured it out. They were introduced to a tool. They just kind of took it and rolled with pinch collar, choke chain, e-collar, whatever it might be. And one thing that I just realized again is another reason why mentorship is really, really important, right? Even if you think of outside of the discipline of dog training, you think martial arts, whatever it is, when you have a mentor, when you have someone, or even in a Shitzen club, right? Something you learn in a Shitzen club, you see other people who are better than you practicing. So therefore your technique gets tighter. You get
Better.
more subtle. You don't have to use as much pressure. You don't have to use as much force or energy to accomplish the things that you want to do. And I think tools definitely can help make a difference as far as when it comes to control. But I think what we really need to focus on as dog trainers is if you know that you're pretty decent with a tool, I would still always seek out someone better than me in that tool so that I can fine tune those skills so that I can gradually get better and better and better and better as a technician of that tool.
100% because steel sharpens steel, right? So
Yeah.
like it's funny how we talked about this. I think it was last episode. That was the the reason.
Come on.
Why increases?
I don't know.
Can you guys hear me?
Start again. Yeah, it
Sorry.
froze.
So
Last episode.
sure. So I think we just talked about this last episode that the reason why something like a martial art, it's not easy, but it's not super difficult. You just have to go through the motions and learn with experience because head knowledge is one thing. Like someone can explain to me how to do XYZ, but then getting in there and actually doing
The
it in real
technical
time.
skill. The
Right.
technical Michael Ellis said the technical skill is so important.
Correct. Right, based on real world experience because every dog is different, every owner is different, every situation. That's why the different tool sets even exist in the first place, right?
Mhm.
Because nobody came out one day and was like, I really want to murder dogs. Let's make an e-collar a thing. It's got a function, it does a good job, but it just doesn't fit every single dog all the time. And that was my big gripe. Because mind you, I like e-collars, but that was my big annoyance with this person that I'm thinking of that only strictly does it. And I'm like, what a foolish thing, you know.
Yeah.
But my point being, uh, kind of to your point, and then I do have to run you guys.
Yeah.
Is the thing about something like a martial art, or really most other things in the world, classrooms and everything else, you see the people that are better than you, but you also see the people that are worse than you. And both examples are extremely valuable because when you only until you see it, you realize like, oh yeah, that person's putting a ton of pressure on this dog, or I'm putting a ton of pressure on this dog, and I can see it now when it's in contrast with everybody else. This dog isn't actively disobeying me. I'm pressuring him so much, he's like stuck. So
Yeah.
maybe I should tone it down, not tone it up, because it's really easy for some people to want to do that kind of thing. But I think that trainers, what they should be making more of an effort to do. And again, that was kind of what one of our things was in starting this whole thing was we should make it more of an effort to communicate together and kind of get together and just learn from each other.
Mhm. Mhm. I agree, and I think I want to thank Bobby for creating an environment for me as a trainer, and he's trained many other trainers in Los Angeles, but just creating an environment at the company that he founded of always having this open mind, of always, really pushing, not letting us be scared to explore different methodologies and ideas and bringing them to the table, and really giving us that environment to grow as trainers because whether you believe it or not, Bobby, at least in Los Angeles in our local region, you've helped change the future of dog training in California. So uh, thank you so much for that. If I was going to ask you this question, Bobby, what is your message to young dog trainers who are up and coming? Think of me when I was 18 when you first met me, like
That was a disaster.
yeah, true. What would be some bullet points? It doesn't have to be one message, but what are things that you think are
Well,
really important for people to know?
one of the most important part of any business
Mhm,
is to stick to it.
mhm,
Jumping from one branch to another branch, you
mhm.
never will be successful.
Right.
Okay, you will go up and down a lot, but you never. So one of the things I would say is educate yourself, stick to it,
Mhm,
um, go with the time.
mhm,
What's allowing you to happen? It was a time Doberman was popular. It was a time German Shepherd was popular.
mhm. Adapt, like adapt.
Right?
Yeah.
So you need to educate yourself 100% on that one. Most important part of a dog training are two things: to educate yourself and also do a right evaluation.
Mm,
Hmm.
So it is very important for you to understand that puppy before you start working with them.
Hmm.
And through the process, every step you go forward, you need to reevaluate that.
Hmm. Hmm.
Okay? Because if you evaluate it in the wrong way, it's going to be a disaster on end.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Okay? So the difference between a shy dog and an aggressive dog, they both going to react aggressively,
hmm. Hmm.
but the training is so different.
Right.
Correct.
So if you notice the dog has aggression and you don't know if it's a dominancy or is a shyness, there is no way you can solve that problem
Right.
because you could have
Effectively.
caused more problem than actually helping that animal.
Right.
All right. So those are the things is very important. My goal always been be the best you can be and do the most you can do.
Yeah.
So when I developed Canines Only, we were the one of the first five-star hotel. You remember we
Yep.
had indoor pool,
Yep.
we had massages, we had plasma TV.
Hmm.
Before that, all the kennels were chain link and a gravel.
And gravel. Yep.
Okay,
Versus, you
so
were the first state of the art facility in
exactly.
Los
So
Angeles.
that's what's important in the future because now every dog hotel is fancy. So who's benefiting? All of our animals.
Exactly, because the amenities and the animal care
Exactly.
and the quality went
And
up.
the health and
Hmm.
everything else.
Hmm.
Okay, so those are the things it's very very important to me.
Yeah. You've definitely pushed the needle in definitely locally in Los Angeles, Bobby, and it's great. I just want to list off a couple more of accomplishments, so like kind of in order. So, Bobby, you helped found the mobile pet adoptions for the city of Los Angeles. For those of you guys who didn't tune in earlier, that is when he was able to convince the city of Los Angeles to take shelter animals and take them to public places so that they could get adopted. And this still till this day, 25 years later,
Yes, still is active.
is still an active program in the city of Los Angeles. And I think because LA is such an influential city, this program has been adopted across the country, which
Yes,
is amazing. New Leash on Life, you rescued over 3,500 animals in 2005.
I was active till 2012.
And yeah, with that rescue organization, training service dogs and therapy dogs from animals adopted from
From
the
the shelter.
shelter. You were the founder of Canines Only, which was one of the premier dog training, 5-star dog training facilities and boarding facilities out here in Los Angeles, which you're no longer part of anymore. You were also a member, and you were a member of the board that was in charge of developing the spay and neuter ordinances for the city of Los Angeles.
Mhm.
And you were also one of the co-founders of LA 11 Leashes, which is a part of a nonprofit called Friends of LA Animal Shelters, which what they were the first pet store that every morning would bring dogs from the city shelters to public locations like malls, storefronts, and pretty much it was imagine a beautiful pet store that only had shelter dogs in it. Okay, and every day he was able to convince. They came up with a contract with the city where every day the city would bring animals who are at nighttime living behind the bars of a shelter to have public exposure so that people, in Century City and Topanga Mall could see these animals in front of
It
them.
would be adapt.
Yeah, so
Adapt.
they would be adoptable. I mean, this is, and you're one of those guys, Bobby. You're gonna keep working until the day that you're gone, and I know animals are always going to be a huge part of your career and your future. And yeah, and we just want to thank you so much for spending time with us and being
Thank you.
here.
It was a pleasure.
Yeah, those of you guys who found value or inspiration in this episode, please just really try your best to share this with one person. It's there's so much knowledge here that I've gained from this man for a while. So obviously I'm a little biased because I like the guy. But go ahead. Anything you want to say, Mario?
Well, I can say too, I mean, I think, Bobby, this is the longest conversation that you and I have ever been able to have, and I can't tell you just how much I enjoyed it and how much I just wanna thank you genuinely, and I think that it's just it's it's hard to put into words almost, like, it's one of those things where, as we all get older and kind of fall
It's
into those different places,
inspiring. It's
it's ins
inspiring.
it is inspiring, but it almost feels like one of those things to where it's the type of inspiring that I'm glad we had the chance to talk now as opposed to however many years ago, because I feel like I'm just in a better place to absorb this information now, and so I'm grateful that timing works out in its funny little ways, you know? But yeah, thank you so much, Bobby. And I can't wait to have you back, by the way. And I really think this is not a joke. You should really look into like writing a book.
Yeah. I've
I've
told
been
him.
told that.
You
told
should.
him.
You really
Yeah,
should.
Bobby. The funny thing is, so we're in LA, we're in Hollywood. Bobby he's been offered so many shows and so many National Geographic specials and so many things. I mean, why didn't you take any of these, Bobby?
My focus was to make the change.
Yeah, from
And
the
I
inside.
didn't want to
Yeah.
be an actor.
Yeah,
I want to be an animal rescuer. I want to be an animal lover. Since I was a little kid, my dad always told me one thing, and I followed that through my heart till now. And he said, every day you do one good thing.
Hmm.
And one day I said, what do you mean every day you do one thing? And he goes, just a smile at someone, open the door for somebody's older, give your seat away. Anything you can do to somebody appreciate it, even if they don't say they appreciate it, you done your good deed.
Right.
So I followed that rule all my life.
amazing.
They call
And
that.
and I'm doing it through the rest of my life. And that's what I'm trying to get my kids to do. So my passion is helping and also be effective on a bigger picture. So that's what my passion is.
I've heard that before. They call that winning the day. And if you win every day, you win the year. And if you win every year, you win at life.
Yeah.
It's true.
So that's where I'm at.
True.
But it was a pleasure talking to you guys. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much.
And hopefully we talk soon.
Yep.
Yes.
Those of you guys who liked this episode, don't forget to leave us a review on whatever platform you're listening, Spotify, Google, iTunes, etc. We want to thank you so much again, Bobby Dorafshar, for joining us here on episode 36. This is Trainers to the Rescue with Bobby Dorafshar. Thank you guys so much, and we'll see you guys in episode 37. You guys have a wonderful rest of the week. Peace.
See you.
Peace.
Thank you for listening to the Dog Trainers Podcast, a podcast created by dog trainers, for dog trainers, or anyone who's ever fallen in love with man's best friend.
We really hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and we hope to see you back for the next one. But in the meantime, please follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Dog Trainers Podcast. Go ahead and leave a comment. Ask us any questions that you want. We would love to connect with our dog trainer communities all around the world. Take care, guys. We'll see you next time.